Hi everyone, I just wanted to go over some information regarding the Outer Banks field trip for our 8th graders. That will be next Wednesday through Saturday, May 1st through May 4th. We just wanted to share some information about chaperone responsibilities and some general information so you know what to expect when we go. So just some general responsibilities for chaperones: inappropriate language is unacceptable for adults when in the presence of students. You will have a group of students. Most groups are up to 8 students, and your main responsibility is to take care of that group. But please be aware of what all students are doing and discuss any inappropriate behavior with that student. We always want to make sure that you are keeping account of all 8 of your group members, or less if your group has less, but please make sure you know where they are at all times. And we suggest gathering their phone numbers so you can contact them in case you can't find them or you want to communicate a message to them. So we suggest getting their phone numbers when you arrive at school on Wednesday. Another thing, just so you guys know, you'll be given a large Ziploc bag when you get to Carmel on Wednesday, and that will be so you can collect your medicine for your group. Any medication that's being sent on the trip, including ibuprofen, Tylenol, must have a medication authorization form that's signed by a doctor and parent and must be in an appropriate labeled container. So we can't have loose ibuprofen just hanging out. They have to have the formal documentation for it, and it has to be put into that bag. Students may not keep any medicine on them at any time. All medicine, once it's collected, you will give your bag to Mr. Mahoney, and he will be administrating all medicine for this trip. So a couple things about arrival on Wednesday when you get here. We need you to arrive at Carmel at 6 a.m. in the cafeteria. The main doors in the front of the school will be open. When you get here, you'll receive a bag with the chaperone itinerary, student journals. So students will be completing activities for each stop we go to. They need to be collected back and given to Mr. Mahoney on Saturday. Some students choose to do the activities in their journal right after we do them. So if we go and visit a lighthouse, they might write about it right after. Some do the entire journal on Saturday on the bus ride home. You'll also be given a bag with chaperone phone numbers. Please don't share those phone numbers with students. It's more for all of the adults to know. You'll also be given a student list. When you have your student list for your group, please make sure get each student's cell phone number and provide students with your cell phone number. If you're not comfortable sharing your cell phone number with students, you can create a Remind group, GroupMe, or WhatsApp. They're all different apps that you can find. The students would also have to download those apps in order for it to work. But if that's a route you want to go, that's totally acceptable. Other things, when you're meeting with your group, you're going to make sure you go over dress code. The Carmel dress code is still in place even on a field trip. You will collect that medication. Again, Mr. Mahoney will be giving that, and you will remind them of their roommates. So if you have 8 students, you'll have 2 hotel rooms. So they'll be in groups of 4. You'll remind them of their roommates and let them know what bus they are on. You're also going to make sure you collect $3 from each student, and that is for our bus driver tip. Make sure you keep track of who has paid that so you know when we get to the end. So a couple bus procedures and expectations. Students will ride the same bus as their chaperone, and students will be in the same seat the entire trip. So we will be in and out of the buses a lot during this trip. So make sure the students are aware that they are sitting in the same seats every time, and it will always be on the same bus with their chaperone. We'll stop at least one time for food and or the restroom. Please make sure the students use the restroom and are given a specific time to return to the bus. Whenever we reboard buses, please make sure your group is present and seated. If you have a student who is missing, please make sure you notify your bus captain and or Mr. Mahoney or Miss Haas or Miss Frank immediately. One thing we want to make sure, there will be garbage bags that will be passed around on the bus, so we'll have garbage bags available. We want to make sure we leave the buses better than we found it. Since we'll be on and off the buses a lot, the neater they are, the better it will be. So we want to really stress that we keep our buses nice and clean. So hotel arrival and stay. Mr. Mahoney and Miss Frank will meet with the on-site coordinator at the hotel. Everyone else will stay on the bus. We're going to unload the buses by room. Each room will be given 3 keys. 2 are going to go with the students, there's 4 students in a room, so that helps make sure they stay in pairs. And then one stays with the chaperone, so you could enter their rooms in case of an emergency. When we arrive, you're going to put your bags in your room and then immediately go to your group's rooms to make sure and check the condition of their rooms. Make sure nothing's broken or missing. And then if there are any problems, please report them to Mr. Mahoney or Miss Haas. Just some information about staying at the hotel. Students will need to be in their rooms by 10 p.m. every night for quiet hours, and this may vary per evening. So if one night we say 9 o'clock, the students know they have to abide by that, and that will be the new time. You can give students 5 minutes to get ice or soda. They do need to stay on their floor to do that. They do not need to go to another floor. If the students have a balcony, they are not permitted to go on their balcony. The hotel phones should not be used. They have cell phones. They should have each other's numbers, our number. They should not be using the hotel phones. And then night security will be on duty from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. So make sure your students know that there is someone that will be out on night security from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Other things to know about our stay at the hotel, we need to make sure students set alarms for wake up. As chaperones, we can decide on a time to do a wake-up call and wake them up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning. We also want to make sure that all students eat something for every meal. We have really long days and significant amount of time between meals, and since they will be active, we don't want them to not have had food and then feel sick or weak. So we want to make sure that they have enough food and water at every meal to make sure they have enough nutrition to continue their day. Every night at the hotel, we will have a night event. For all the night events, chaperones do need to be present. So we'll have a movie night, a Blackbeard performance, a dance party. We will need to be with our groups. They will all be in the ballroom. Chaperones are not permitted to leave the hotel or participate in any activities that are unprofessional or could make Carmel look bad. A couple things to know about checkout on Saturday morning. So you're going to take care of your checkout needs first. Then you're going to go to your students' room to ensure everything is orderly, nothing is broken or missing. When you check their room, you collect their keys and send them to breakfast with their stuff. Students will need to have plenty of time on Saturday to make sure they pack, get ready, and eat breakfast. So that'll probably be a pretty early morning for them, just to make sure they can get all of that done. And again, same with the buses is going to apply to our hotel rooms. We want to make sure that we are leaving it better than we found it, and that rooms are clean, so we don't give Carmel a bad reputation. We want to show how great we are. Some general information for you. The bus does have a DVD player for entertainment. If you have appropriate DVDs, feel free to bring one. We will not be swimming on this trip. Students are not permitted in the ocean or at the pool at the hotel. Students need their own money for spending and for souvenirs. And remind your students that they need to keep $7 for fast food for the ride home. That's the only meal that will not be provided to them, so they need to make sure they have $7 to make sure they can eat on the way home. Our estimated time of arrival back at Carmel is 8 p.m. on Saturday. The past couple times it has been earlier. So please make sure all students in your group have a way to get home. If we are expected to be earlier, we're going to make sure that they contact their parents with enough time so they can adjust their schedules to get here as well. And the last thing we want to say is thank you so much for volunteering to help and chaperone with our Outer Banks trip. We're excited. It's going to be a great 4 days, and we will see you next week.